Greetings, viewers and subscribers. Welcome back to Eddy Vision. I know you guys saw the title of the video. You guys are eager to know what's going on. I'm here with Mr. Herro Blair Jr., CEO of Travel Saver AZ Solutions and also part of management at Praise Travel. Mr. Blair, how are you doing?
I'm not bad. Nice to be with you, Eddy, and I congratulate you on the work you're doing.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. For persons that don't know, who is Herro Blair Jr.?
I'm a bishop. I pastor in Spanish Town. I'm a former sportscaster. I was on TV in Cayman 15, 20 years on radio and TV. I covered Western Union World Football Report for BBC and ESPN. And I'm on several boards in Jamaica as I try to work for the good of Jamaica.
Oh, that's huge. How long have you been the travel agent for the JFF?
I've been a travel agent for the JFF for 4 years. And I've been a travel agent for 30 years. Well, in the travel business, I worked with an airline. I've managed 3 travel agencies. I've been in this for a while.
Good. What would you say the travel climate is like right
now? We see airlines trying to rebound. We see some struggling because of loss of pilots. We see a lot of flight cancellations, and we see prices that are absurd. But it's on a rebound. A lot of people want to travel because they've not traveled much in the last 2 years. So on either side, it's coming together. Want to wait and see what happens in the next few months with the resurgence of COVID. But I think we're looking at it and seeing that it is not as serious as before. But hopefully people will still do the right things, wear the mask, and keep social distance.
All right. Getting to the meat of the matter with the Reggae Boyz. What went wrong with the Suriname trip?
You know, if I can be honest with you, I want to say first and foremost that for the players on their behalf, they seem to have this as a part of the problem and not the full problem. But the Suriname trip, let me be honest, this is the first trip in my 4 years with the JFF that the management team actually took the time to make arrangements almost 2 months before. Everything else normally is because there's so much going on, maybe 2 weeks before, sometimes a week before, sometimes days before. This time it was 2 months. And as I said to somebody else today, I have contracts with Suriname Airlines as far back as April for this tour to return the guys home. The problem that we always face is that some of the guys don't have U.S. visas. It would be a much simpler process to fly them back through the U.S., but if we did that for 90% of the team, the other 10% would still be stuck. So, so we booked a group with Suriname Airlines to carry them to Trinidad. We booked a group with Caribbean Airlines to carry them from Trinidad to Jamaica. And Caribbean Airlines, to their credit, did very well, holding those seats for almost a month. Suriname Airlines, they pulled back on the contract to say that they could not do their group eventually. And that created a problem. From that, we signed a contract, or we did a contract with Caribbean Airlines for them to do a charter from Suriname to Trinidad, and then to fly the group flights from Trinidad to Jamaica. We paid for the group tickets. Those are paid for tickets from Trinidad to Jamaica. But then Caribbean Airlines also pulled out from Suriname to Trinidad. And then finally, the JFF got a charter. Now, I don't do their charters. So they got a charter, and the charter told them that they could only fly at 12 o'clock, which means that they would be in Trinidad by about 12:15. And they would not leave Trinidad till 7:45. And I think that would have created some problems because in my experience, the players, they don't want to be anywhere more than 3 hours, and 4 hours is pushing it. So that would have been very difficult for them. I tried to make arrangements, and I think we got through with some arrangements where my friends at Caribbean Airlines, even though their lounge was down, negotiated on our behalf so that we would have gotten the lounge for the players. But normally, I think in the contract, the JFF has been very strong with me about this. If the players are going to be somewhere for more than 7 hours, well, for 6 or 7 hours or 8 hours, then they would try and get a hotel for them until the flight. But in this case, in this case, being over a morning situation, I don't think I told the JFF that Caribbean Airlines had worked out and finalized the lounge on their behalf, because by that time the players were acting up and they did not want to do the flight arrangements that were made by the JFF and myself. So
you mentioned
a lot was in place.
Okay. And you mentioned the 30 seats. So that money was lost for those 30 seats?
We didn't lose all of it. I was able to negotiate with Caribbean Airlines, but we lost a lot of it. So those tickets from Trinidad to Jamaica were paid for. I also had tickets on standby in case that did not work out with the charter for the 90% to fly from Paramaribo, Suriname to Miami at 1 o'clock on Sunday morning after the game, and then arrive in Kingston before midday. So that was an option, and bookings were also made for that just in case, because Suriname is not a nice place to travel. Is this a recurring theme where the JFF loses money in terms of tickets being paid for? Could you explain that a bit? It happens, and it happens sometimes because of players. I want to say mostly the players, because I've done tickets. I know one player alone has about almost $2 million worth of tickets untraveled. You don't want to name that player? Is it a UK? No. UK player? It's a UK-based player, but I'm not naming any players. I maintain a good enough relationship with them in trying to work for the JFF and for them. My duty today is to make sure people understand that things were done, and I'm not defending myself, because I do my job and I do it well. And the players would say that, except for maybe one. But at the end of the day, I believe the JFF is getting flack for something that was organized for the first time almost 2 months in advance. So we've seen players not show up for flights. We've seen players miss flights. And what are some of the reasons? What are some of the reasons why they would not show up? Players don't show up because they don't want to fly in one direction. Players don't show up because they're unhappy about something. I mean, sometimes it's really a hassle for me to even think about the fact that players will lose money, will cause the JFF to lose money, because we've had cases where a ticket costs $1 million or $1.4 million, and they don't show up for the flight. They don't show up for a flight. What that means is that they lose a ticket in most cases, and that's not a good scenario. The way I see it, the JFF struggles to get money. Not just players who don't get paid on time at times, and they lose this money because somebody's playing tickets, which could be somebody's salary for a year. Exactly. Because they don't do So I mentioned to the JFF last week, after 2 of the UK players did not show up and we lost their tickets again. Must do when they are not traveling for one reason or another. So if they don't travel as of now, after they get that letter, that is to say that whatever they're doing is going to be purposeful against JFF, because this happens ever so often, and it's rather sad, and it's a lot of money, especially when they're not getting their pay and others are not getting their pay. And there have been cases where I've not gotten my pay, and I've had to borrow money to make sure that our entities like IATA are taken care of, because if they don't get paid, then I get shut down, and that's a big deal. So if JFF doesn't pay me in 2 or 3 days, I can't handle the upcoming under 20. I can't handle the girls' tours. I can't handle all those things that are coming up, and that is why all of this becomes important. And the JFF must gotten some agreement from these players that they would be turning up. Well, the thing is, there's a process. I send the tickets to the manager. The manager sends the tickets to their managers and to the players, and they make an agreement that they're accepting. Occasionally, that the time doesn't allow for that. Occasionally, the manager sends it to them and say, "Here, this is your ticket." Most times, I'll tell the manager there's no option. And even when I tell them there's no option, sometimes players still want an option, demand an option. So it's a very difficult situation. Let me just say in defense of the players, there are times when they're upset because they're not able to fly business class on a 9-hour flight or a 12-hour or 14-hour flight. And people may argue, but they have a contract that demands it. They have a contract signed that says that that's what happens. So I'm not here bashing players, but I'm saying at the same time the JFF struggles to find funds, and it's a two-way street. The players have to win in order to get sponsors on board.
Yeah, one hand washes the other.
Yeah, it's a two-way street.
How is your relationship with the JFF and especially Dalton Wint?
Well, I maintain a business relationship. I mean, occasionally as a bishop, I'll call and pray and wish them the best and pray for them because I know the difficulties. I'm a businessman. I've just to let you know, I have sponsored. When I lived in Cayman, I was a sponsor for the national champions. I was a sponsor for the basketball league, the cricket league, as a sponsor for the Filipino basketball league. I was very involved, and I care about communities, and boys clubs, and youth organizations that I'm a part of. So my relationship with them is purely, what would I say, business, and I'm not supposed to even have contact with the players, but there are times when I'll have contact with the players because I make changes for them. And I've upgraded players out of my own pocket at times. And I've done things because I believe in the process. I believe in the team. But to see what's happening now is very distasteful because at the end of the day, I know there's no money there. I almost didn't get my own pay a week or two ago. But we have to understand the process. And we have to work the process together.
Right. Do you think it was right to get rid of Mr. Dalton Wint, Gensec?
No. You know why? You have to have a manager. You have a manager with balls to make decisions. It's business. And if you say yes to everything, you know, there were days Mr. Wint would come and say, Mr. Blair, if you give the players everything they want, I can't pay you. It's not that I don't want to pay you. I don't have the money to pay you. That's manager. And I fully understand them. I want to give the players that business class. And there are times I will beg them to take the premium economy, and there are times some will take it and some won't. But at the end of the day, the boss look at me and say, I know you want to be helpful, and even when you, Mr. Blair, upgrade a player without my consent, you're setting yourself up for failure. You know, sometimes for me it's a reward. Maybe a female player might score some goals and says, you know, she doesn't want to play, she doesn't want to fly in economy because of her legs and she has a match, or male player likewise. I mean, God has been very good to the JFF and the football teams because some of these flights that they've missed, especially on American Airlines gives me back every ticket that they've lost. But we don't have the same luck with the other airlines. They've been very fortunate.
Speaking about economy, we noticed that the delegation, the hierarchy, always travel first class.
You can't ask me that question. Yes, they do. I only do what I'm told. I know the players don't like it.
Yeah.
I know the players don't like it. But I can tell you what, I used to do tickets occasionally for the CONCACAF president and for captain. Nothing new. They flew first class too. You know? So I can't speak to that. I do what I'm told to do. You can't get my opinion on it, but I do what I'm told to do.
Have your agency ever been at fault for any logistical error? I
don't want to say yes. because I'm a bailout man. I'm a solutions person.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why we maintain the relationship we have, and I never put them under the bus. We've had in my 4 years we have the Saudi Arabia situation, and that
Maggie.
situation, I think that situation won me over because I never slept for 2 weeks, and I had players stuck. I had airlines canceling flights on the way to the game. I had airlines canceling flights on the way from the game. I had players getting COVID, and I want to guarantee you, their managers in Europe called me and praised me because at the end of the day, I never left any of their players out there. So I would say the one player that might give me any respect because I don't get his bag when his bag is lost, that's his business. I don't do baggage. I don't do frequent flyer. I do tickets. But if one of my
All right.
clients is going to get stuck, football player or street cleaner, I'm going to make sure they get home.
So basically, the blame, who you think would share most of the blame
No, nobody.
overall?
They cannot. You cannot be blaming anybody.
Are
You
we,
cannot be
should we
blaming
blame
anybody.
wind, the environment in terms of the climate for traveling, in terms of getting the logistics? Who do we blame? Because the fans
Yeah,
need answers.
yeah.
And we saw
That's a
Wind losing his job.
There is. Here are the facts. Here's the facts. You cannot blame the JFF because, as I said to you, for the first time in 4 years of handling their travel, that 2 months before the travel, they started organizing this. We've done 3 contracts that I was a part of, and they would have done 4 or 5, including the two charters. So I can only say this to you: when the travel climate creates issues, we have the under 20s coming up. I started working on that, and we have 9 guys that don't have U.S. visas. Their only option is to go through Panama, and it's difficult to get all 9. Probably put some from Kingston, some from Montego Bay. They can't go on the day they want to travel. They have to go the day before or 2 days before. And then the guys that are going through Miami, there are options. One option has them with a 7-hour layover and it's less than 100,000. And one option gives them no layover like that, but it's $220,000. What does the J do? And those are the situations we face during this time. And the embassy not being fully available, people not having visas, it's very difficult. Logistics are difficult for these guys. So I'm not throwing any stones at them.
The last question, Mr. Blair. Have there ever been a situation where, like the JFF would say, we're not going to buy tickets because it's too expensive, especially for the UK or players in Europe? Is there some kind of quota, like, okay, we're going to 4 tickets, 5 tickets? No more than 5?
To me, you know what bothers me about all of this? Mr. Wind is so committed to these guys. Because I think one time I had like between 13 to 15 tickets from the UK. And he said to me, Mr. Blair, I don't know how you're going to do it, but I know you can do it, and I want you to get them. They would call me and say, this is something online. Mr. Wind has fought for these guys. So there were times when he said to me, I don't know how you're going to do it, but you're going to get them that business class seat. I said, sir, it's 8,000 US. And he said, Mr. Blair, work your magic. Roy called me, Mr. Blair, work your magic. So Mr. Wind has never asked me to not bring a player. He's never said, okay, we don't have enough money, I'm not going to do this. They've always committed to their team. Once the coach, that's where it starts. The coach, and sometimes that's where the hold-up is. The coach has to name the team before I can do the tickets, and sometimes I don't get the name until days before. But Mr. Wind has always committed to getting every player that the coach has on his list to the game. And so that's my job to facilitate that.
Yeah, and it's always important, especially with traveling, to book early. In terms of cost, because they're going to rise up the cost if you book late.
It is. So all of these logistics is more than him, because There are days when I'd call him or Mr. Gaynor and say, I need the names. Because Mr. Gaynor is a very strong-willed person. He says, Mr. Blair, I tell you to book this from last week. I said, Mr. Gaynor, I look at it, but I can't book it. I don't have the names.
Without the names, yeah.
Right. So those are some of the issues that we face.
All right, we're going to wrap up now. Anything else you want to say to the Jamaican public?
Well, we love our football. We love our boys. Encourage them. They need to win in order for the JFF to make money. That's all I can say. We need the girls who are going in, they're still in the World Cup qualifiers. We need them to win. We need them to get to the World Cup in order for the JFF to get money. Part of the problem that Mr. Wint and the JFF face is that the players have had a history of challenges, so they don't trust the JFF. But I don't encourage them. Work with the program. There are people on the staff who don't get in a year what some of these guys plane ticket costs. And they don't get a salary on time sometimes. So just work with the program.
All right, I'm going to give you an opportunity to plug your companies.
Well, put it this way: I manage Praise Travelers on Macfield Avenue. We handle flights, and all travel agents probably offer about the same for the flights. But where I am strong is in my travel saver business, Travel Saver A to Z solutions, and I give you wholesale hotel prices. So if you call a hotel, Rio, for instance, and they give you a price, I guarantee you I'm going to give you a better price.
It's a cheaper
if you
price.
go to Expedia, if you go to ExpediaBooking.com, I guarantee you I'll get a better price, and that's what I do.
All right, people.
So they can look us up just as how you found me on Google. It's Herro Blair, Steve Blair, Travel Saver.
Yeah, man. So, folks, for your traveling needs, for your hotel needs, contact Mr. Blair, right? And we want to just take this time to thank Mr. Blair for taking time out of his busy schedule. He's a very busy man, dealing with clients 24/7. Come on here is JFF and Reggae Boyz is hot right now, hot trending, and he took the time out to to share some of the things that we wanted to know about the whole flight arrangements and all of that mess. All right, folks, you know the drill. Like, share, and subscribe. This is Eddy Vision. Big up.